to people of all races all over this country, these here United States of America, to people all over the world. If you fight for freedom, justice, and equality for all human beings all over the world, I give you my sincere good greeting, and I can call you my brother or my sister. And it doesn't matter what your race is or the color of your skin is. As long as you fight for freedom, justice, and equality for all people, you are a necessary human being and you are an asset to the planet. So I can call you brother or sister. Having said that, we are here today once again because an unacceptable situation, to put it mildly, has once again occurred. A devastating loss of another young black man at the hands of murderers wearing police badges, police officers who were simply murderers out to simply carry out an assassination attempt is what it really looks like when you view the video footage. And it's getting it's getting to be really it's tiresome. It tires your spirit out. It tires the mind out. But you can't let them do that to you. You can never let the killing of black people by police go unchecked or go unpunished in this racist society that we live in. No white person would accept continuous murders of white people at the hands of black police officers over and over again. So why should we? You see, they want you to become mentally tired, emotionally drained, because they want the killing of black men and women and even children in some cases to be a blasé thing, to be something that's acceptable and palatable. It's just another occurrence in everyday America. We should just move on and look past it. This is what they want. I've seen not one post from any black person on Facebook regarding this shooting of this young black man. I put a story on on the My Story board on this account, which is my Queen's account, because Facebook has me in jail right now for calling some simple-minded black people Negroes. I called them Negroes. I didn't use the other word. If I say the other word during this live stream, they made an attempt to ban this account or to put this account in jail as well. But I didn't use the N-I-G-G word. I used Negro. And they put me in jail for calling out some simple-minded black people, calling them Negroes. So this is why I'm on this account here today. Now, I don't know if Facebook is involved with separating people that have certain ideas and certain ways of thinking as far as revolutionary thoughts, as far as any types of critique on our society. If they deliberately keep certain people away from each other, deliberately delete comments, deliberately remove thumbs up or hearts off of certain posts. I know YouTube is involved in doing this. And I know Facebook is as well, because Facebook has removed several videos of mine, several videos of ours. And they've also done certain things to restrict people's accounts here on Facebook. But when I checked, all I saw was my post that I put on this account, and YouTube blacked the picture out so you couldn't see the picture that was associated with the video. It was the video of them shooting down dead this 22-year-old innocent black man while he lay sleeping. They blacked out the image and just left some white typing text. and you couldn't click on it on the My Storyboard. These are the kinds of tactics that they use to suppress information. But I'm really shocked that I haven't seen dozens of posts about this young black man that was shot down dead in the apartment of one of his relatives while he lay sleeping. He was startled out of his sleep and murdered by some fucking cowards with police badges. There is no other way to slice this or describe this. I'm going to show you the video, and you tell me whether or not this is a cowardly act by police officers. But before I do this, please don't make any comments or say anything about, oh, you're so upset about police officers killing black people, but are you upset about black people killing black people? This is a white man's argument, and you are a silly Negro if you take up this argument. But are you upset about black on black crime? Of course we're upset about black on black crime. And of course there are people out there working towards ending black on black crime, just like there should be white people out there ending white on white crime. Everyone should do our part in raising the next generation so that they don't grow up to be fucking criminals. It's our responsibility to do this. So if you're the type of black person that always shifts the discussion toward, but what about black on black crime, then you are nothing but a coward-ass agent of white supremacy, because you should be able to work on two things at one time. You should be able to work on white racist police brutality and black on black crime. Both things should concern you, as they do I. They concern me. And I call out both situations when I see them. But let's take a look at this video so you can tell me whether or not you believe this is an instance of cowardly behavior by police officers. But before that, one more thing. Just going to rattle off some names to you real quick. Botham Jean, Tatiana Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker, and Amir Locke. Every last one of these people were innocent, and every last one was shot. All of them were killed with the exception of Mr. Kenneth Walker, who was Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. Now, the reason why he wasn't killed is because he pulled his gun out and he started to shoot back. Because all he could tell was that there were some people that were shooting inside the apartment from outside. So he decided to take his legal gun and shoot back in self-defense. And that was the only thing that made those officers stop, because they realized somebody was shooting back at them. So that bought him just enough time to say, okay, I give up. Don't shoot anymore now that you've announced who you are. But it was the fact that he shot back and attempted and defended himself. This was what allowed this man to walk away from that encounter with those coward-ass murderers wearing badges once again. Once again. But let's take a look at this video of this innocent black 22-year-old man being murdered by police. Okay. What'd that look like to you? They sneak into the apartment using a key that was not furnished to them. They creep in with the key, kick the couch, start shouting, screaming commands and cursing, startle this man out of his sleep. This man has a gun to defend himself, a legal gun, but we're going to talk about that a little later on. The point is, a man is startled out of his sleep. There can be no more peaceful activity that a human being can undertake than sleeping. He doesn't know who the hell these people are. They're shouting and screaming, and they have guns. And he reaches for his gun with his finger off of the trigger, but we'll get back to that, which he's allowed to have to defend himself against home invaders that are shouting and screaming. He does not know that these people are police. He doesn't know who these people are. They have crept in and snuck in during the wee hours of the morning before 7 o'clock, startled him out of his sleep, and then shot him dead. If that's not some coward shit, I don't know what is. Okay. Now, I'm going to show another video. It's a news video because there are some commentary in here. There's more information, and there are other tidbits of information that you need to be privy to, that you need to see in order to put this whole thing into perspective. So let's take a look at another video about the same situation.
Well, we have breaking updates tonight in the deadly police shooting that happened yesterday morning in Minneapolis. In just the last few hours, the city released footage from an officer's body-worn camera.
A warning, though, it could be disturbing to watch. It shows the encounter that killed Amir Locke inside a downtown apartment.
Police search warrant! Police search warrant! Police search warrant!
Jeff Wagner is here now to walk us through the video and what we've learned tonight about this investigation. Jeff.
Amelia, earlier today, Locke's family first viewed the video, which is what city leaders wanted before they released it to the public. Now, the elements of the video unfold quickly, as you just saw. The video clip itself was 15 seconds in total, but an officer's gun goes off 9 seconds after police enter the apartment. Officers use a key to open the door and immediately start shouting search warrant and other commands as they enter. MPD gave us this slowed down version of the footage. Their guns are drawn, flashlights on. They then kick the couch that Locke is sleeping on, and as he awakens and gets up, he is holding a gun. Officer Mark Hanneman shoots him. Police also released this still frame from the video showing the gun in Locke's hand. Yesterday, police said the gun was pointed at.
All right. Can they see me in the bottom left-hand corner, Mo? Can you see me? All right, so take a look at where this mouse is. This is the gun, and this is his finger. Everybody that knows anything about gun safety knows that when you're not deliberately trying to shoot someone, when you just want to be prepared if you have to defend yourself, your trigger finger is off of the trigger alongside the side of the weapon, like his is. He is not getting ready to shoot anyone. His finger is off of the trigger. Remember, he has been startled out of his sleep. And just to put a point on this, this was a legal firearm. He was a legal gun owner. He took classes and he got all of the proper paperwork filled out to be a licensed firearm carrier. He was well within his rights to have a gun to protect himself. And this man was not even named on this bullshit no-knock warrant. and we're going to talk about no-knock warrants. But he wasn't even named in it. His name is not on the warrant. These officers didn't check for any of that. Cowardly. Let's continue.
At officers. At a press conference with Mayor Jacob Frey tonight, community leaders asked in Jacob Frey tonight. At a press conference, police said the gun was pointed at officers.
They said, okay, let's go back. They tried to say that he was pointing the gun at them. The gun is pointed down at the floor. His finger is off of the trigger. These cowards still shot him. His finger is off of the trigger. The gun is pointed down at the floor. You see it. But the lying ass police chief, you're going to see this woman. She lies and tries to say that the gun was pointed at these officers. You can clearly see it is not.
Yesterday, police said the gun was pointed at officers. At a press conference with Mayor Jacob Frey tonight, community leaders asked Interim Police Chief Amelia Huffman if she could specifically point out when the gun was pointed at the officer.
So if you look at that still image, even though you don't see all of the officers, the involved officer was just outside the frame in the direction that that barrel is emerging from the blanket.
But it looked to me as if that gun in Mr. Locke's hand was pointed toward the floor.
And certainly when the county attorney's office reviews that case, they will be carefully examining all of those factors. And I'm absolutely positive they will take a look at that.
It was not long after that answer that civil rights attorney Nakima Levy-Armstrong passionately interrupted the press conference. She's part of a new city commission to improve public safety and said Frey and Huffman's response to the shooting is not what voters want.
What they were expecting is a new beginning. That's why they gave you more power and authority. So that is what we want to see as the residents of Minneapolis. We don't want to see cover-ups. We don't want to see whitewashing. People are asking very simple questions that have still not been answered. Amelia, you're saying you want to be the chief? Then act like it.
We learned some other new details tonight. St. Paul police had a warrant to search 3 apartments in the building related to a homicide investigation. Chief Huffman did confirm that Locke was not named in the search warrant and added that St. Paul police recovered evidence from the building that could be related to that initial homicide investigation.
Jeff, a lot going on there. All right, thank you.
As you heard, he was not named on the warrant, and they still didn't find anything that they were looking for. There's still a whole lot of, there are other apartment units in the building and some evidence or some of the individuals involved may be in some of the other apartments in the building. Are these people idiots? Are they Keystone cops? What are they doing? Once again, Botham John, Tatiana Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, her boyfriend Kenneth Walker, Amir Locke, all shot and all dead, with the exception of Mr. Kenneth Walker, who shot back. He is still alive. Now, let's talk about these no-knock warrants. It's when the police don't have to knock. They can just show up at your residence and kick your door in. Apparently, they can shoot from the outside, into your apartment the way they did Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend. They can sneak in with a key, guns blaring, ready to go, ready to kill somebody. This is what the no-knock warrant is all about. No-knock warrants. Now, from what I could see, all of these officers were white. As I stated before, we don't see this problem happening to white people all over America. Over the last 10 years or so, all I've been seeing is black people being murdered at the hands of police officers. Many of them having committed no crime or having nothing to do with anything, but still being murdered by these cops. What's going on here? What's going on here? Are they preying on black people? Are they being allowed to undertake these activities under the sanctioning and permissions of the law? What do you think? What do you think is going on here? This keeps happening over and over and over and over and over again. What's happening off camera? What's happening when the camera's not on? How many of these situations are taking place but are not actually recorded? Have you asked yourself this question? Now, the media instantly labeled Amir Locke, the dead young black man, as a suspect. He was continuously called a suspect in the news media. He was never a suspect. But once again, we see the smearing of the character of the victim. We've seen this play out all too often. After they murder one of us, they try to destroy that person's character and paint him as an unsavory individual, so as to say that it's not a big deal because he probably deserved it. Do you see the kind of devilish and evil undertakings the systems of this country use against us? Demonize the individual that was murdered by the demons. They kept showing his gun, saying, oh, but he had a gun. Look at the gun. He has a gun. They never stated that the gun was legal, though. That only came out after his parents started doing press conferences and saying that the news needs to stop showing him with a gun in his hand as if he wasn't supposed to have one. He was a legal gun owner. That gun was for his protection. He was a DoorDash driver, a delivery man. It can be dangerous out there for delivery men, Uber drivers, whatever the case may be. He felt like he needed to protect himself, so he purchased a legal gun. And he was well within his rights to pull it and use it when that home he was in was invaded by people he had no knowledge of, and he had no knowledge of who they were or why they were there. There was just gunmen in his area, in the room where he laid sleeping, gunmen. He did not know who they were. He would have been well within all of his rights to shoot every last fucking bullet in that gun in defense of his life. Those people invaded that home unannounced, snuck in with the key. He did not know who they were. They woke him up out of a sleep. He would have been well within his rights to shoot every last bullet in his gun in defense of his life. Should he have waited? Would you have waited? The young man did everything he was supposed to do. He was prepared. He just wasn't able to get any shots off. And he was a peaceful young man because his finger wasn't even on the trigger. And he made sure the gun was pointed at the floor. This is what that young man did. This is devilry at its worst, is what we're seeing here. And I do not know why I am not seeing post after post after post on Facebook. Is Facebook deleting all of the posts? Which they have been known to do. This is why I don't understand why the Oprah Winfreys of the world, the Michael Jordans and the Magic Johnsons, and you fucking name it, all of these, the Tyler Perrys, why haven't they invested some of this money in social media and in other platforms so that they can't black out black people trying to connect and unite with one another through social media? Because these other people control white people control social media. Okay? Mark Zuckerberg, Google, YouTube. Pardon me, black people don't control these things. So if they want to do little sneaky shit like shut you out, shadow ban your account, take posts down, make sure you don't connect with other individuals, they can do that. But we need this lifeline of information to be able to communicate, and they know that. But if black people with goo gobs of money really wanted to own something in this society, we wouldn't be in this position. What are they? It's unbelievable to me. It's just unbelievable. I mean, you see them spending money and making stupid ass movies and putting together channels like OWN and making sneakers and Jordans, and all of this is bullshit. Black people need schools. We need community centers. We need social media platforms that are owned by black people so they can't deny us access to information, and they can't stop us from connecting and communicating with each other. What the hell's going on here? This shit is crazy. Really crazy. So they kept showing his gun like it wasn't legal when it was legal the whole time. I got a question for you. I got a question for all you black police officers, black male and black female police officers. Every time something like this happens, I don't see a united coalition of black officers all over America in an uproar, protesting all over the country, demanding that there be change to certain rules and regulations with regard to policing as it relates to black people in this country. I don't see you in any uproar. As a matter of fact, you're kind of you're as quiet as church mice whenever this happens. Why is that? Don't you know that? And this goes for white police officers too. This kind of shit makes it dangerous for you on the streets. It creates a certain level of hatred for police officers, period. It makes people more apt to be violent towards police officers because they already have this hatred built up from constantly seeing people that look like them, black people, innocent people, being murdered in their own fucking homes. Tatiana Jefferson was in her house playing video games with her nephew, and some fucking coward, a white racist officer, shot through the fucking window from outside and killed her. Botham Jean, his home was invaded by another white racist police officer, shot dead in his home. Breonna Taylor, her home was shot up from the outside. She was killed in her bed. Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend, they tried to assassinate him also, but he shot back. Amir Locke was just killed while he lay sleeping inside of an apartment, minding his own business, being as peaceful as a human being can be, sleeping. All of these people were innocent, yet they were assassinated by white police officers. And don't tell me it's not a white police officer thing, it's not a white or black thing, because if it's not, then I would be seeing multiple instances of innocent white people being murdered at the hands of black police officers, of other white police officers, being murdered by white police officers. I don't see this. Black police officers don't have this problem of shooting innocent white people. You better not. Because your ass would be thrown under the jail, Negro officer, and you know it. Yet you allow this behavior to be inflicted on your own people, and you sit back and say and do fucking nothing. If you're doing something, prove me wrong. Let me know what you're doing. Leave a comment. Let me know what's going on. Because I'm tired of seeing this shit. I'm tired of seeing this shit. I'm tired of seeing innocent black people being shot down dead for no good goddamn reason. This shit is barely getting any news coverage. Barely getting any news coverage. And it's just as egregious as George Floyd. And oh, it's in the same fucking city as George Floyd. Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, we're going to take a look at the judge that signed off on this order, this no-knock warrant order. But first, let's deal with this police officer. Let's deal with that. The police officer that shot Amir Locke. His name is Mark Hanneman, or Mark Hanneman. The officer who shot Amir Locke had 4 complaints on record since his 2015 hiring. 4. Okay? Internal affairs investigations. Okay? He had 4. All right? And his name is Hanneman. There is his name right there. All right? You can read this article for yourself, but I just wanted you to see this. This is in Newsweek magazine. So that you know that this officer had 4 complaints on his record since 2015, and the last one is still ongoing. The 4th one is still ongoing. This police officer's name, some activists are accusing the Minneapolis Police Department of a cover-up, while a police official said the officer who shot Locke, Amir Locke, the officer that shot him, Mark Hanneman, was in a difficult position. What the fuck does that mean? He just killed somebody. He should be in a difficult position. Okay, this officer's name is Mark Hanneman. You can look up his record on your own. I just wanted to see that. I wanted to show you that he has one. So he was a problem. He's been a problem. Probably should have been fired a long time ago. This is the judge that signed off on the no-knock warrant. This is the same judge from the George Floyd trial. You would think this man would know better than to sign off on a no-knock surprise attack warrant where you surprise people in their homes in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the morning, where you crash through their residence, bash their door down, or shoot from the outside like they did in Kentucky when they killed Breonna Taylor, or you let yourself in sneakily with a key, and surprise people that may be armed, that are legally allowed to be armed to protect themselves against home invasions. You would think this man wouldn't sign off on any warrant like that, based on all of the turmoil that his city underwent because of the George Floyd murdering. He was the judge in the Chauvin trial case. You would think he would know better, but he still signed off on it. It doesn't get any more ridiculous than that. And let's talk about defunding the police. All of these cries to defund the police. Well, the police still have not been defunded. The police haven't been defunded. In fact, that racist clown, Joe Biden, that black people voted for, the one that said, if you ain't black if you don't vote for me, the one that said he doesn't want his children going to an inner city jungle school with the rest of the inner city kids, that Joe Biden. The Joe Biden that was one of the architects of one of the most infamous and oppressive crime bills in American history, that was directed towards inner city people and inner city crime, which those people are primarily black and Hispanic. That same Joe Biden, okay. He actually gave the police more money, but we'll get back to that too. But my original point is that the police have not been defunded. Yet crime in my city right here in Philadelphia has gone up. It has skyrocketed. It's gone through the roof. What are they doing with the money that they've already received? and with the extra money that they've been given by the federal government. What are they doing with it? Because crime damn sure hasn't gone down. As a matter of fact, we see cops in many instances partaking in crime. Right here in my city of Philadelphia a few years back, several cops were involved in one of the largest corruption scandals in the history of this city. Involved in extorting drug dealers and violence and all types of extortions and what have you in the drug crime arena. It's a mess. And you can find information about this by just simply Googling it. The Philadelphia police officer corruption scandal. It's going to pop right up. So sometimes these cops are involved in the crimes that they're being charged with actually removing off of the streets or stopping. They're actually involved in many of these crimes in certain instances. Of course, it's not all cops, but an alarming proportion of them are involved in these things. Now, what is also crazy to me is that in many cases, police officers are actually also very out front and outspoken with their racism. And it's not called out by their colleagues or by other officers that may work with them. About a year and a half ago, there was a police, I believe he was a sheriff's deputy in North Carolina. He was caught on tape saying that he couldn't wait for a race war to jump off so he could take his rifle and go out into the streets and start shooting black people. This was in North Carolina. I believe it was in Durham or Durham, North Carolina. One of those two, but it was in North Carolina. You can look that up too. How the sheriff's deputy said he couldn't wait to start shooting black people because that's how much he hated black people. And these are the types of individuals that are on our police forces all over the country. White supremacists have long been a problem in police departments all over the country. In 2012, there was an investigation by the FBI into white supremacist organizations infiltrating police departments. I don't recall seeing any updates on that investigation or recall seeing any measures that were taken to destroy that disgusting disease, to remove that plague of white supremacy from the police forces all over the country. I don't know what was done or what is currently being done to remove this cancer from our police departments all over the country. What's going on with that, FBI? What's going on with that investigation? You see, these are the things that destroy America and make this place an unlivable, chaotic cesspool of violence and destruction. That kind of shit. Having white supremacists all over your police forces all over the country. That's unacceptable, to put it mildly. And here's something for you that you may be interested in also. I'm hearing a lot about all of this black on black crime, especially right here in my city of Philadelphia. All of these all of these shootings, black men shooting each other, black people shooting each other. But let's take a look at this. A white robber nabbed wearing an African-American Hollywood mask. Look at this. This asshole right here was going around robbing banks and doing God knows what. And he was wearing this Hollywood lifelike mask. You would think he was a black man. Could white supremacists be doing this, putting these masks on? And could they be in the neighborhoods inciting violence, creating violence, being violent? Is that possible? Man, you know how when we know that an all too large percentage of police officers hold racist views, and this is also true, because about 2 years ago, there were over 3,000 comments that were made on the internet from police officers all over the country, and these comments were racist comments. And 300 of those police officers were found to be right here in my city of Philadelphia. 300 of them. Could some of these police officers be on the streets of our city instigating violence? Could some of these police officers be involved in corrupt activities on the streets of the city? Is that possible? Look at this shit. He's a white man with a black mask on his face. How many other white men are doing this shit? Because they know the black man is the ultimate scapegoat of society. And this is going to drive more panic and fear of the black man and make it easier for you to behave violently toward him. How much of this shit is going on? You see this? I hope you do. Now, what does this do? What does this do? Okay. What does this do for the police officer that is righteous, or at least trying to be righteous, trying to do the job the way a police officer should do the job? What does this do for his occupation? Well, it's common sense. It makes his job all that much more dangerous. I said this previously. It creates a certain amount of hatred and mistrust for police officers everywhere. I just looked at a news story in Phoenix about some police officers were shot in Phoenix during some sort of standoff and shootout. Pardon me, where police officers were shot in the process. Now, if you're a criminal and you've been watching people, innocent people, be murdered at the hands of police officers, what the hell are you going to do as a criminal if you know you're guilty and you know you've done something wrong? A lot of them are going to take the mindset that they're just going to shoot it out because they have no respect and they have no sympathy or empathy for police officers anywhere. And it's because of murdering ass cowards like the ones that murdered Amir Locke in his sleep, basically. The ones who startled him up out of his sleep and murdered him, and those officers that murdered all the rest of those other black people that I ran down the list for. You create a certain level of hatred for police everywhere when you do this, and you make it unsafe for your fellow officers who are trying to do the job the right way. And much respect to you if you're a police officer who's trying to do the job the right way, and you want to protect and serve the taxpayers. I have nothing but respect to you. And I want you to, nothing but respect for you, rather, and I want you to stay safe. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned that you so-called good police officers aren't doing enough to root out the bad police officers. I don't think you're doing enough. And the evidence of that is what just now happened to this young man, Amir Locke. And for all you black police officers, do you have children? Do you have family members that you love? God forbid they encounter one of these savages with badges, with a cowardly mindset that wants to ambush people, that wants to behave violently toward black people. God forbid that your son or your daughter or your family member comes across one of your brothers in blue with this mindset. God forbid. Because then and only then will you see how important it is for you to stand up and do all that you can do, speak out to make sure people like that are not hired onto police departments all over this country. No one wants that to happen for you or to you. But life is random. We don't know what's going to happen in this life. Life is unpredictable. And when you don't do things to try to make certain situations better, when you are smack dab in the middle of it and you can do something, these things have a way of coming around back to you. It's a universal law. I'm looking at my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. Okay, I don't want to miss anything. So the other thing that this may do is it may encourage some home invaders to impersonate police officers and start to try to mimic no-knock warrants just to gain access into certain people's houses under the guise of them being police officers on a no-knock warrant. I mean, there is shit you can buy at Halloween costume stores when you want to act like, when you want your costume to be a police officer. There are things that people make, shirts and all kinds of different types of shirts that say police on it, that they can do screens for. So who the hell knows what this may lead to? People doing home invasions, impersonating police officers, ambushing people. It could lead to that. You don't know. People have impersonated police officers before. It could also lead to people being discouraged as far as defending themselves while they're in their own homes for fear that they may shoot a police officer, a real legitimate police officer that has invaded their home. So they may be afraid to defend themselves. Listen to me closely here. There would be no way for you to tell who the hell has invaded your home in the middle of the night when they wake you up out of a deep sleep and you have a gun beside you to defend yourself. Your first instinct should be to defend yourself by any means necessary. This situation should not discourage you or deter you from purchasing a gun, getting trained on how to use your gun, and firing every single bullet you have in your gun if you are in a home invasion situation. But it may discourage some people from even defending themselves. But it shouldn't. You have every right to defend yourself against people that have invaded your home. You don't know who they are. You have every right to defend yourself from people that have invaded your space with deadly weapons. You don't know who they are. You don't know why they're there. You don't know who they are. You don't know why they're there. You don't know if they're police officers or not. They could just be home invaders, and you don't have time to figure out who they are because they could kill you, rape your wife, rape your daughter, kill your sons, and then kill everybody. All because you hesitated. All because you hesitated. You can't hesitate when it comes to self-defense. If somebody invades your area with deadly weapons, you don't know who they are. They have not identified themselves. They came under the cover of night. They snuck into your living area. They snuck into your home. They broke into your home. They shot through your door. They shot through your window. Who the hell are they? They are behaving like criminals. You don't know who these people are. Any rational thinking person, any logical thinking person would automatically defend themselves. This is why no-knock warrants should be permanently removed from the books. They should be permanently removed from law enforcement and the legal system in general. It's a bad idea. Why don't these people know that it's a bad idea? Or is it that they just don't give a shit? And it's easy to surprise people that way. It's easy for a fucking coward to surprise people, so the person doesn't have a chance to fight back. So the innocent person whose name is not on a fucking warrant doesn't have a chance to fight back. So the innocent person sitting in her living room playing video games with her nephew doesn't have a chance to fight back. So the innocent man sitting at his table eating fucking ice cream doesn't have a chance to fight back. So the innocent young lady sleeping in her bed with her boyfriend doesn't have a chance to fight back. So the innocent 22-year-old man on the couch sleeping doesn't have a chance to fight back. What are these cops trying to do? What is racist white America trying to do, period? What are they trying to do? Are these cops trying to instigate a race war? Okay. Well, I don't think that's a good idea for the country. And I don't think it's going to turn out to be such a good idea for you fucking cowardly, violent, racist ass cop. I don't think it's going to be a good idea for you, because there will be collateral damage on both sides. And don't you forget that the Second Amendment exists for a reason. What is the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment is the right to bear, the legal right to bear arms. That's what it is. Let's take a look at this. Why was the Second Amendment created? Let's take a look at this. But first, let me tell you that there are 400 million guns in the United States of America. 400 million people own guns. And that's just what they know about. What about all the other illegal guns that exist? What about that? But there are 400, that's a gun for every person, every man, woman, and child in the country to damn near almost have two guns, a gun and a half. There's only about 300 million people in the United States of America. Maybe slightly over that, maybe 325 million maybe. But 400 million guns is enough for everybody to have a gun in the United States of America. So you think these people aren't going to fight back one day? When they get fed up with your fucking bullshit? Because the law, the legal system has let them down? Because the law, because the law has let them down? Well, let's take a look at the reason why the so-called founding fathers implemented the Second Amendment. Let's take a look at that. What the Second Amendment really meant to the founders. They like to call themselves the founding fathers, or we call them the founding fathers. Okay. The amendment's primary justification was to prevent the United States from needing a standing army. Okay? Preventing this country, the U.S., from starting a professional army. Why did the founders of this country want to prevent this country from having a professional formal military? Okay? Well, let's read this. Preventing the United States from starting a professional army, in fact, was the single most important goal of the Second Amendment. It's hard to recapture this fear today, but during the 18th century, few boogeymen were as scary as the standing army, an army made up of professional full-time soldiers. Okay? What was going on at that time was this. By their logic, any society with a professional army could never be truly free. They thought that any society with a professional army could never truly be free. Why is that? Because they said, let's read, the men in charge of that army could order it to attack the citizens themselves. Power-hungry sons of bitches that run the military and run the police departments, okay? Okay, let me put my face on here. Power-hungry, cowardly individuals that don't want anybody else to have guns or use guns but them, like those police officers and people in the military, certain people in the military, that only want guns to be in their hands. If those men get a bug up their ass and get a thought in their head that they don't have enough power and that they want to restrict the movements of people or restrict what a free society can do, or if they want to force you to inject yourself with a fucking mystery vaccine that there have been no long-term studies on, that has made some people incredibly sick, that some people have died after taking, if they want to do something like that, you don't have any gun, you don't have any self-defense, you don't have any means of defending yourselves. The founding fathers of this fucking country didn't want that to happen. Let's go back. Okay, let's read what this is in the Washington Post, no less. The Washington Post. The men in charge of the police departments or the army could order it to attack the citizens themselves, who, unarmed and unorganized, would be unable to fight back. This was why a well-regulated militia was necessary to the security of a free state. To be secure, a society needed to be able to defend itself from a crazy fucking government or a police department. To be free, it could not exist merely at the whim of a standing army and its generals. There it is, laid out for you in the Washington Post, no less. What the Second Amendment really meant to the founders. So they didn't want you to be left with no means to defend yourself, because they knew that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. People routinely abuse their authority. Now, what do you need to do? What would you do as a person? Okay, especially if you're a black person in this climate of white supremacy and racism and violence in which we live, that's been coming from police departments since the police departments were created back during slavery times. The origins of the police were slave catchers, the slave patrol. They actually had badges, and their badges were labeled slave patrol. On the iron or steel badges, it said slave patrol. So they've continued this mindset all the way to today's time. From the days of slavery all the way through to today. Many of these officers have carried this same mindset and behaved in that same mode. Well, so what are you to do? What are you supposed to do? Okay. Now, this is just to protect yourself in general. To protect yourself in general from anybody. Okay. From anybody that invades your home. Okay. What do you need to do? The first thing you should do to protect yourself from home invaders. Okay. Now, I'm talking about anybody. I'm talking about any person that invades your living space, that invades your private area where you're minding your business, committing no crime. And this person invades that space with the intention of being violent towards you. You don't know what the hell their intentions are. The first thing you should do is bar your door. You need to install one of those steel sliding latch locks that slide through to the other side, so that even if somebody has a key and they try to sneak in, they can't get in because your door is barred from the inside. You can buy this from Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, and you can install this with a screwdriver. And a metal piece just slides over to the other side of the door, so your door is barred shut. They have to physically break the door in order to get in. This way, And if you have to install 3 of them or 4 of them just to provide you with some sense of security, you go ahead and do that. So this way, you'll be alerted. You can hear them trying to get in. And you'll have enough time. Your weapon should be loaded and it should be ready to go. But at least this way, you'll have enough time to access your weapon. Put a chamber in the round. If you have a revolver, you don't have to worry about that. If you have an automatic, you need to put a chamber in the round. And get ready to fire every last bullet in your gun in self-defense. I'm not telling you to be an aggressor. You're not the aggressor. You're in your own home. Or you're in the home of one of your relatives minding your business. You're asleep on the couch. You're not committing any crime. So I'm telling you to be prepared. So I'm telling you to purchase a legal gun. Purchase a legal gun. Make sure all your paperwork is legit and everything is filled out. I have legal guns. More than one. All of my guns are legal. All of the paperwork is filled out. And I am trained. All 5 members of my family are trained. They know how to shoot. Okay? And they are prepared to shoot in defense of this house, in defense of their lives, in defense of everyone's life that lives in this house, which you should be prepared to do the same. It is your God-given right. It is your lawful right by the laws of the land. Okay? You have this right to self-defense. I am not telling you to be an aggressor. I am not telling you to go out and do anything. All I'm simply telling you to do is be prepared to defend yourself against an attack. Okay. Because like I said before, you don't know if these people are there to rape your wife, rape your daughter, kill your sons, kill you, and then kill your wife and your daughter to leave no witnesses behind. There are some sick, demented, demonic people out here. Sick ass people. Crazy fucking people. You don't know what the hell these people have in their minds. So you better be ready to defend yourself by any means necessary. By any means necessary. By taking it to the limit. Now, another thing that I don't understand is why this guy here, Mr. Keith Ellison, it's not just him, and all black politicians and law enforcement officials. Like I said, he's the state attorney general in Minneapolis. Okay? So he's the #1 ranking law enforcement official there, basically. Why didn't he make sure, and why didn't every other black politician with some type of power make sure that no-knock warrants were removed from the books and removed from the laws of the land after what happened to Breonna Taylor about a year ago or a year and a half ago? Why didn't all of these black politicians and lawmakers make sure that no-knock warrants were removed? And I'm going to need this man, Keith Ellison, to do more than just remove it off the books. I'm going to need him to send Mr. Mark Hahnemann to jail, to prison, for the murder of Amir Locke. Okay? And all of those officers that participated in that bullshit that they knew was morally wrong, that they knew was wrong in every way known to man, that you don't surprise people in the middle of the night and don't know who the fuck you're surprising and then start shooting at them. They may be armed and ready to protect themselves. Don't they know that this is a nation full of 400 million guns? You don't think they know that? So I'm going to need Mr. Keith Ellison to make sure these people go to prison. Mark Hahnemann, the shooter, and all of his little cowardly ass buddies that joined him on this fucking kill mission. Because I'm tired of seeing this shit. And I'm going to need black politicians and police officers all over the country to stand up and do your fucking job. Stand up for your black brothers and sisters, okay? Stand up for all Americans, because it's going to eventually spill over off into white people to a certain degree anyway. You're going to start to see some instances where they get murdered as well. But we know it's mostly reserved for us. It's primarily reserved for us. That's why I said I'm going to need our black police officers and politicians to stand up and fucking do something. You're in the position to do it. You're right smack dab in the middle of it. I should be seeing posts from all kinds of black politicians and lawmakers, all kinds of police officers, all over Facebook, all over the internet, YouTube, everywhere. But I won't see that until it happens to your son or your daughter. And then it'll be fucking too late. Then you would have wished that you would have stood up and done something about this shit. You being right in the middle, smack dab in a position to do so and all. What about this guy? Mr. Joe Biden. Has he done a State of the Union? Has he addressed the nation? And has he come down hard on yet again another instance of police brutality of the highest order directed at black Americans? Those very same black Americans that voted him into office? Has he been on any news conference or any press conference, stood in back of the podium and made a statement about this shit? You let me know if he has. Because I know he's done this. He's done this. U.S. cities are increasing funding for police with Biden's blessing. Oh, he's giving the police more money. In a speech to American mayors last week, oh, this was January 25th. That's when this article was published. This was not very long ago. In a speech to American mayors last week, Biden made his priorities clear on how cities should spend emergency funding from the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. He made his opinions clear on this, his position clear. It says it right here. He's made it clear. This is where he wants the funds to be allocated. Affordable housing, child care, jobs, and police. Well, you might as well have put police all the way up in the front, because we know that's what he's mostly worried about. Police. We shouldn't be cutting funding for police departments, Biden said. Don't worry about the fact that it hasn't curbed any crime, police having all of this money. It's just made them more militaristic. They've even been given some military-grade equipment that they don't need to have to use against regular, everyday, ordinary Americans. That's some coward-ass shit right there, too. You're going to drive tanks and have all of these military-grade weapons to deal with some people that go to work and school every day. Oh, y'all, you motherfuckers, you police are so fucking tough. You're so tough. Come storming in with 8, 9, 10 people on one unarmed man in his sleep, shooting up women in their beds, shooting women through the windows from outside. You people are so fucking tough. We shouldn't be cutting funding for police departments, Biden said during the speech at the annual United States Conference of Mayors winter meeting on January 21st. Look, we ask cops to do everything, including being psychologists and social workers. Guess what? They need psychologists and social workers. $1.9 trillion. So he's giving them part of that $1.9 trillion. $1.9 trillion with a T is an unimaginable an unimaginable or inimaginable amount of money. That's so much money you can't even fucking comprehend it. All of it is not going to police, but it's so much of it that a large chunk of it could be going to police, and a large chunk of it is going to police. That is so much money. $1.9 trillion? So he's giving them more money. He doesn't think they have enough money. Don't worry about the fact that your crime rate ain't going down, though. Don't worry about the fact that they never catch any of these so-called murderers or these black-on-black crime perpetrators. They never catch them. I wonder why they never, ever catch them. What's going on with that? So now you see the State of the Union, since Joe Biden ain't going to give it to you, since Kamala Harris ain't going to give you the real State of the Union, I had to come on here and give you the State of the fucking Union today. If something is not done about this cowardly police brutality, eventually this thing is going to simmer and come to a boil and then explode. And don't try to blame the American people. Don't try to blame black people. It's white racist America's fault for not doing something, for not punishing criminal white racist supremacist behavior coming from their police departments. And in many cases, coming from racist ass white supremacist citizens as well. Now, I'm being very specific with my language. I'm specifically talking about white supremacy. I'm not talking about all white people. Unfortunately, I'm talking about a very large percentage of the population when I speak about white supremacy. Larger than white people would like to admit, but it still exists nonetheless. But I'm not talking about all of our white brothers and sisters, okay? If you're a white person out there fighting for freedom, justice, and equality, freedom, justice, and equality for all people, regardless of the color of their skin, then I commend you. Keep up the good work. Like I said previously, I can call you my brother or my sister. If you're any type of person, regardless of your race or color of your skin, if you genuinely fight for those things, I can call you my brother or my sister. So share this video everywhere. Make sure you post it and repost it so that this information gets out, because they are still killing us in our sleep. May the peace and blessings of the great mother and father be with you. May all the powers in the universe be with you to guide you and protect you. May the ancestors walk with you to guide you and protect you. Until next time, peace. Now, this video will also be found on our website at blackafricana.com. 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 It's going to be there, because I don't know if Facebook is going to take this down. I don't know if YouTube is going to take this down, because they are involved in practices like these. Anytime anybody that speaks out against racism or injustice or tyranny of any kind, Facebook and YouTube try to squash that person, suppress that person. So you know what they're about. So you can also find this on our website, blackafricana.com. But share it around, repost it, put it on your story, do whatever you have to do, because I don't think enough people even know about this situation. And they've done that by design. They are trying to keep it under wraps and hide it. So until next time, once again, stay safe, and may all the blessings in the universe and all the protections of the universe